All right, all, thanks for joining us here for the live stream. We have a winter storm and some extremely cold air that are coming our way. So, I'm going to start you off with something I won't show this very often. If I show this very often, I don't think that people would watch. But this is the 850 millibar chart. Why am I showing this to you? Okay, so the 850 millibar chart is a spot we look many times to see where it might snow versus where it might rain. So northeast Kansas is up here. This line right here, the white line, represents where the temperature at 850 millibars, about 1,500 meters above ground. This is approximately where the temperature or the precipitation is falling would be snow on the cold side, where it's colder than 0 Celsius, and probably rain on the warm side. So many times we're looking at that line very closely because many times you see the heaviest snow happen just north of that line. Many snows we have in the area are right there along this feature. So that's what the 850 millibar chart looks like. That is just about right now. I'm going to roll this forward up until Saturday morning when the bulk of this snow should be falling in our area. Now we have temperatures that are at the 850 millibar level that range from about minus 12 Celsius to as cold as minus 20 Celsius. So what that means for us is we're not going to see the pretty friendly dendrites that you typically see with snow. When you think about snow and the shape of snowflakes, you cut out the paper and all that, those shape of snow, those don't happen typically when the temperature at 850 millibars is something like minus 10 to minus 20. This is where you start to get ice needles, where you start to get cones and those kind of things. And not cones, but columns. You start to get definitely some weird shapes. So what I want you to notice when the snow starts falling Friday night, Saturday, and Sunday, check out the shape of the snowflakes. They're not going to be normal snowflakes like you see in postcards or things. If you, especially have a black coat or something, if you just look at the shape of the snowflakes on your arm or a black car, what I'll do sometimes is set it a black trash bag and just lay it flat by a door so I can stay warm, and I'll step out and I'll check out the shape of the snowflakes. Sometimes take the iPhone and zoom in closely and take pictures of them and just admire it. But for folks, if it's something, it's kind of a neat experiment to do for the kids as well while you're home stuck in the cold air, just to really kind of check that out. It's free, of course, but just check out the shape of these snowflakes that are falling with this really, really unusually cold air and low levels of the atmosphere that we're going to have. So here's what we have for wind chill values. This is dangerously cold. The wind chill by 3 a.m. Friday already below 0. So if your kids have to be at the bus stop Friday morning, they need to be bundled up. It's extremely cold. 5 p.m. Friday, still wind chill below 0. Saturday, 10 to 15 below 0 at the bus stop in the morning, and then still 10 to 15 below 0 at 5 p.m. Sunday is not much better. Sunday afternoon, a little better, maybe above 0 for a moment. And then the computer models are actually showing another cold wave that rolls in Monday. They can pull the wind chill values back down to 10 or 15 below 0. This is a prolonged event, really Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and probably Monday, with extended period of time there of wind chill values below 0. Not the kind of thing we see around here very often. So make sure that you're protecting yourself, your kids, your families. Check in on grandma and grandpa. Make sure they're okay in this extreme cold. For the pets, make sure they have a blanket or straw. If the blanket gets cold and frozen, it's not going to help. Make sure they have access to unfrozen water. You can give them bigger meal sizes. That gives them more calories to help them stay warm. And if you can, bring them inside. Some people bring the pets in a couple of times a year just when it's extremely cold. Just look at them in this cold weather and look at their eyes. They're going to beg you, please let me come in, unless they're a husky. And I've seen the way they are. You probably should bring them in too. I don't know. But if you can bring the pets in, this is the kind of cold weather to do it. Let's check out the snow now. Supercast is showing dry conditions at the bus stop Friday morning. By Friday evening, now the snow moves in and the temperatures stay extremely cold. The heaviest of the snow starts falling Friday evening into Saturday morning. This is the time where we have that temperature that's about 1,500 meters up, and it's going to be something like 10 to 20 degrees Celsius at below 0 Celsius, and that's what's going to form all these funky columns and ice needles and different things. And we'll see sometimes also if you have ice needles, they don't add up the snow depth as quickly as dendrites. Dendrites, kind of have that funky shape, and once you pile them together, they crush down over time, but the ice needles, you can have a whole lot of ice needles that don't make it very deep, but it's still tough to get through. It's just the measurement isn't as big. So accumulating snow through Friday night. At times we'll have blowing snow on Saturday morning into Saturday afternoon, and the snow, the most of the accumulation is done with by Saturday evening, leaving us with 3 to 7 inches of snow. This is the winter storm watch in Emporia, Osage City. Most likely, we will see either the winter storm watch extended north or a winter weather advisory put up here. But once the National Weather Service gets a look at these latest evening computer models are coming in, they'll make a decision on whether or not to extend this watch farther or maybe go with a warning. So what I just saw in the North American model of the NAM that came in a few minutes ago had more snow going farther north. But the NAM model, I've joked before and even put on graphics, NAM loves snow because the North America model, the NAM, it always goes too high. If I put on the NAM snowfall forecast every time we have one, you'd have run me out of town many years ago. I mean, you would have lost count of how many times I said 10, 12 inches of snow was coming. The NAM model always goes too high on snow. But the trend of it, of where it's showing the heavier snow, the trend of that area is farther north and probably going to have Topeka, Lawrence, Oskaloosa included in the next watch or when the advisories come out. And I wouldn't be surprised if your phone starts chiming at 4 a.m. Sometimes the Weather Service changes over from one crew to the next. They'll make the updates in that. But 4 a.m. is if your phone screeches at 4 a.m. giving you a winter storm warning or a winter weather advisory, just remember that I said it was possible. I don't control that. I have no control over that at all. I just know the trend. And about 3:45, 4 a.m., I wake up a lot to get screeches because I have my phone set to go off for everything. I need to know when everything happens that's weather related around here. All right, radar, Prairie Band Casino and Resort Live Storm Tracker, nothing yet. We'll see it Friday night into Saturday. Temperatures right now reasonable. If you have errands or chores or whatever to get done, tomorrow's fine with temperature topping out near 40. So, the grocery stores are going to have lots of people there, I have no doubt. But there's 4 or 5 days in a row of this wind chill being that bad, who's going to want to really get out in that? So, expect to see lots of people out tomorrow gathering stuff and getting ready to be inside for a while and avoiding the elements. So here is the latest from what is called the European model. This is a forecast model that many forecasters use. I'm not the only one. GFS is another one we commonly use. The HRRR, the high resolution rapid refresh, the HRRR. It's kind of a wild name, but that's a really great model. There's the IBM graph a lot of folks will use. The NAM I mentioned a moment ago, and the NAM takes the snow even farther. So a big change from yesterday when we were talking about this. If you watched me on 13 News at 10 last night, all the purple was in Oklahoma and Arkansas and southern Missouri a little bit. None of this was in Kansas. So the 8 to 12 inch variety here, that was about 200 miles south. And for Topeka, we were in the 1 or 2, and now it's the 4 to 8, getting kind of the very edge of the 4 to 8 as far north as Topeka. Down south, this is a major ice storm. This is going to cause power outages for a lot of folks. This is one of those things we're going to see power crews traveling from multiple states coming in to help other people. There's going to be a lot of damage from Dallas through Little Rock, probably to Memphis. Wherever it forms an ice glaze, you're going to have a lot of power outages, a lot of people suffering. I do mean suffering because they're not used to seeing temperatures around 0 and without power. This is going to be really dangerous for those folks down there. And we can deal with a couple of days of this wild wind chill, and however much snow we get. This won't be a storm that is historic in that way. But to imagine going 5-6 days without power, a family in Arkansas with temperatures around 0, that's a different thing. So around here, we're going to suffer through this too. It's just not as bad as they're going to have down south. So we're calling it a first alert day on Friday and Saturday and Sunday. I encourage you to make sure your kids are dressed warmly for the bus stop on Friday, and you can check 13 News This Morning Friday, on 13 News This Morning Friday morning to see if there's any cancellations or closings. Without a bunch of snow, I don't expect to see a whole bunch of closings. Sometimes schools will delay start because it's so cold in the morning. In this case, it's not going to get any warmer as the morning goes on, so do a delayed start. won't improve anything. So they probably would just go with normal school Friday is my guess, but I don't make those decisions. So make sure you're just checking in to see what schools do on Friday. Friday evening for your basketball games, there could be snow falling. The wind chill could be 10, 15 below zero. If you're going to a game, make sure you head out early. Make sure you have a charged cell phone. Make sure you use a lot of caution driving. It could be dangerous. Probably going to have some of those games canceled, moved to different dates. I don't know. Again, I don't make those decisions. I'm just advising you that it's quite possible that some of those things that are scheduled will become changed. Saturday, if you don't have to get out, I just wouldn't. Even if it doesn't snow at all on Saturday, even if there's no snow at all, the wind chill Saturday is still 10 to 20 below zero all day long. It's a nasty, dangerous day to get outside and do anything. We're still probably going to see significant snow there, but that's the coldest of it. And then Sunday, wind chill values of minus 10 to minus 15 are going to be quite common. Again, I have the updated computer models coming in behind the scenes here, and I'll share those with you tonight on 13 News at 10. But from what I'm seeing right now, I don't see any reason to think we're going to see less snow out of this. That 3 to 7 inches around Emporia and Burlington looks like a solid number at this point, and it's looking more likely that Topeka could wind up in that same range as well. And I'll try to have a better estimate for you on 13 News at 10. That's in just about 40 minutes. Hope to see you there.